Oh my God.
Jessica! I've never been called a fox!
Dana.
That's a classy name for a Harry.
I like it classic.
Okay.
Do you?
Welcome to the Rants and Raves podcast.
Sure.
Out with the bad and in with the good, motherfuckers.
That's right.
Oh my God, Jessica!
We did it! You did
Okay,
it.
you guys. Oh my God. You guys might be able to see us dance and lip sync to our opening. This is a new thing I'm trying out. I really am trying, you guys, the best I can when I'm not in bed watching documentaries about castles. Now, Jessica, I'm going to say my face
Welcome to
is
the Rants and
horrific.
Raves podcast.
Oh, yeah. Okay, but before we get to that, my face is horrifically clear to me. I can see myself very well. You are extremely fuzzy to me. Now, how do I look to you?
Whew, that's a relief to hear. You are very sharp and look great, and I see your fabulous glasses that I commented on last week. You look great.
But how do you look to you?
I mean, you know, could use
I'm
some
not
work.
asking for your opinion on your physical. I'm asking about your connection.
I mean, it's slightly soft, but not really. I mean, it's pretty clear.
Okay. Because to me, if I look at you through my cell phone, you're perfectly clear. But on my computer screen, you're very pixelated.
That's very weird.
Anyway, well, listen, we're trying. Hey,
We're trying.
we're trying. How about this? Welcome to the Rants and Raves podcast. I'm Dana Powell.
And I'm Jessica Young. And we are here to rant and rave.
We are here to rant and rave. Okay, got a few bumps. There's a few bumps we're ironing out.
There's a big delay. You guys just bear
There's
with
a
us.
big- I just don't understand why there would be a delay, though. I'm on 5G. What are you on?
I don't even look anymore. I've had it.
Oh, okay.
I have. I've given up on all wireless technology, bandwidths, cell towers
trying to
looking like
figure
fake
out-
trees.
I'm just trying to figure out, like, is it because you have a computer from 1972? Or is it a bad internet connection?
I mean, my computer's
I'm not
still
sure.
updating. I just did the new Monterey update, so it can't be too old yet. Unlike my last
I
computer,
don't know what
that
you're
stopped
talking
at
about.
what, like Monterey, each thing that they update on Mac. You have a Mac.
iOS?
El
oh, yeah, is that the
Capitan,
newest iOS?
Monterey, the Channel
Gotcha.
Islands.
Okay. Oh, the
So I
Channel
just-
Islands, is that a real one?
I think so.
I
If
don't
not,
think so.
listen, Apple, we have plenty of coastal places that you can. We have plenty of coastal places that you can name your software to.
You know what's so funny is that now that we're using video, even though I don't know if people are going to be able to see you, I can see the shape of your head and your glasses. But I did see Alan walk behind you very well, and it seemed to scare you. Like you were like, "Is this a stranger or is this person going to hit me?"
That is totally correct and on par for me. First of all, it was a very loud.
That
walk.
was your
The things were
husband.
shaking. I thought maybe there was an earthquake or something happening.
But I
And
legitimately saw him walk through the other way. You knew that he was in the house.
Dana, this is a daily occurrence. Do you know that if I'm brushing my teeth, and I know I personally have deadbolted and locked the front door, no one else is here, we're great, we're going to bed, I will be brushing my teeth, and if I look up, and he likes to sometimes stand behind me, either to deliberately scare me or just standing there waiting because we only have one sink, really sucks. I know that's first world problems.
Same.
But having
I know,
one
same for me.
sink, you know, no thanks.
No.
I will be brushing my teeth and look up and I'll see. So like something is transmitting to my brain. I see his face. I see that it's Alan Doesn't matter. It's still stranger danger, intruder, intruder. And I will let out a blood curdling scream. And every time he's
Right.
like, what is wrong with you? You know,
Well,
it's
sure.
me.
Because how many years have you been married? Say it.
Long
I mean,
enough.
a long time. Long time.
Yes.
Years. Let's say
Yes.
years.
Yes.
I don't know why we're hiding
We've been
how long
together
you've been married.
because I'm always iffy on that date. We've been together 16 years, married for 6 or 7.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
not totally
Remember
sure.
when I thought you didn't invite me to your wedding? I wasn't
Yes, and
mad
I
or
never had
anything.
a
I was just
wedding.
like, oh, I didn't get to go. I know.
But I was horrified that you thought a lot of people said that. They're like, oh, I didn't realize I didn't even know you guys were married. I'm like,
Yeah.
yes, but yeah, we never had a wedding. We just had a wham bam, thank you, ma'am, at the Beverly Hills courthouse with a bouquet of fake flowers and our friend Nick Armstrong standing in as the one and only witness. I called him at 10
Witness.
o'clock the
Yeah.
night before, and I'm like, even though this isn't our real wedding, I can't bear just having a stranger. Can you just please come there and be there? And he's like, yeah.
Aw.
And then we did it, and we
That's
went
very
out for
sweet.
brunch, and then we all went about our lives like nothing had happened.
I think that's very sweet and romantic, except for the fact that you said wham bam, thank you, ma'am, at the Beverly Hills courthouse, because it sounds like you guys consummated your marriage at the
true.
courthouse
Which we did
very
not.
quickly.
I will tell you as a quick aside what did happen, and I remember being revolted, shocked, and even, dare I say, outraged by it.
Oh.
The people that were waiting, that were going in after us, said, excuse me, and I don't remember how they asked it or what happened. They ended up asking Nick and even offering to pay him if he would then be their witness. I'm like, why do you want
Oh.
my friend, our close personal
I thought you were going to
friend?
say to marry them.
No, that
Like,
had
I
to be
need
the
a-
little tiny lady who I'm telling you was all of 4'11" and cute as a button and probably 92 years old. She was the person officiating, but no, they asked him to be the witness. I'm like, what does it matter whether it's a
Interesting.
courthouse employee or my friend that you also
Or-
don't know? It was so
yeah, very
weird.
strange.
They were like, oh, please, would you be our witness? And I was like, why? And as usual,
They're like, he's funny.
I mean, I guess he was joking when we came. I don't know. It was very, very bizarre. Who knows?
That is bizarre. You and I did, before we get into the bulk of the show, we won't take up too much time because I think our last episode was 6 hours long, but we just haven't seen each other very much.
I
We
know,
don't
you
talk
guys.
much. It's been a lot. So,
Texting, we text all the time and send each
All
other
the time.
ridiculous and important stuff, but it's totally different when you're gabbing with a friend. Come on.
yes.
You can't replace that.
You
Just like
can't.
we met a few
No.
weeks ago. We didn't come up for air. I felt like we had been there 10 minutes. We had been there 2 hours. We didn't even snap
know.
a picture of the occasion.
Nope. No, nothing.
No.
But we did do something together recently
Mm-hmm.
that I've been waiting for a long time.
Yes.
We went to the
What's it-
opera together.
Did you love it?
I loved it. I mean,
It
loved it. First of all, we saw Lucia de Lammermoor. I think that's how you say the rest of it. Lucia for short.
Lucia de
Yeah.
Lammermoor.
The singers were amazing. Jessica could not calm her body down because she's in love with Arturo. He's a resident
Arturo
performer at the
Chacon
LA.
Cruz,
And
the tenor
also-
from Mexico.
yes, he's very handsome, beautiful voice.
So
He is also
handsome.
well aware that Jessica's in love with him because at the end of the opera, I don't know if this is normal, but as we were clapping and saying bravo, bravo, and she comes up, brava, brava. I know the difference. When Arturo comes up, I'm like, bravo, bravo. And I just hear Jessica go, I love you, Arturo.
I
I jerked my
really
head. I'm like,
did.
is that appropriate opera behavior? Anyway, Jessica screamed out that she loved Arturo while we were bravoing.
I did, like loud, and I hope
You
he
have
heard
no
me.
shame. Yeah, no shame about it.
None. And we were in the orchestra, y'all. We got some real nice seats. Okay.
Ugh, Our seats were amazing, and the staging of it, whoever the artistic designer was, like, it felt like you were walking through a city. But also there were two other really cool things, and then we'll move on. So it was the first time that the new conductor was up. What's her name?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not good with names. Do you remember?
Oh, I'm mortified.
Uh,
I'm gonna look her
it
up
doesn't
while
matter.
keep
You can
going.
look it up. She was incredible. She's a young new conductor, Hispanic. I mean, it was so fun to watch her. So there was that. And then also they were using video cameras, which I had never seen a live stage play, use a camera in that way, where they were in the back. Like, you could see secret little scenes going on while the show was happening, and it informed the story so well. It was mind-blowing, honestly.
It was incredible. There was a DP, a director of photography, on stage the
Yes.
entire time. And as you're watching
Female.
the opera live, yes, it was another
Yeah.
kind of groundbreaking. That there are female DPs, you don't see as many. Same with conductors, you don't see. I've never seen a female conductor, I don't think.
I don't think I have
I'm
either.
still
Not
trying to
besides
find
high
her
school.
name, and I'm mortified because our internet just doesn't want to work proper. Listen, this was a very female heavy
It was
production crew, which was
awesome.
phenomenal. But the DP was filming, and like Dana said, you're watching the opera unfold live on stage with the whole ensemble, but then you're seeing these intimate moments, maybe of Lucia and Edgardo, played by Archer Oshikon Cruz. And it was, I let me tell you something. I wrote an email to my bosses of the company that I work for, where we're able to get tickets to these amazing things. And I saw one of my dear friends, Darren, last night at a rehearsal, and told him the same. He does not like the opera at all. And I went into rapture, like almost shrieking at him and pleading with him and begging him to go see it. I'm like, you just made a short film. You have interest in that. If nothing else, I know you don't like the opera. I said, I'm not blowing smoke or trying to trick you. I'm begging you to see it because this was groundbreaking. And it's bringing
really
the
was.
opera to the 21st century. This is not our parents'
100%.
opera.
No, God, no. And it was not that my parents even liked opera, but at one point there was an entire city and 3 full cars on stage.
Yes.
Like the spectacle of it. That's why I love opera. I love the spectacle of opera.
And
there
it
is
was
something
seamless.
magical. Oh
Mhm.
God. There were people, you were just like, where did those cars come from? Like they just
Seriously.
appeared. It
And
was
you
like
didn't hear a peep.
little truck and 2 no. No. And you're like, how did they get on here? Because at one point I even nudged you and went, there's no wheels on those cars. They were like stacked on top of milk crates and stuff. Like, I don't know how they got there.
I don't
It was
either.
mind blowing. I can't thank you enough for taking me, Jessica. We
my God, it
had
was a
such
pleasure.
a lovely time beforehand. We got there early and went to the wine bar. I still owe you money. Don't let me forget. And had charcuterie, and then I had that
Fancy
like
drinks.
Dorothy Rainbow drink.
Yes.
That I just took a still photo of that drink and put it in my Instagram stories. And I don't know about y'all. I won't say numbers because I don't want to make anyone feel like, oh, Dana's, bragging, or it's just really sad that she thinks that's not normal. But I got more views on that story than I have ever anything in my life, I think. I'm talking career stuff. I'm talking when I've been in movies, when I've been on TV shows. I'm talking when I recently announced that I was Motto in Cars. Nope, not as many views on that story. More views on that still photo of a beautiful drink. I don't understand the internet. I don't understand how to win the internet. I just don't.
You do. You have to post pictures like you did and look like an influencer.
Is that all it takes? They're like, thank God her face isn't in it. Yay. I don't know.
No, I can't roll my eyes back enough. I keep getting ads for things. I feel like somehow it must pick up on the fact that I do social media for a couple of people. And I don't
Yeah.
mean like people, I mean for places of business. So I keep getting
Companies.
ads.
Yeah.
Yeah, for classes on how to photograph food for social media and things like that.
Amazing. That's
Which I
better
want to
than
roll my
I keep
eyes at.
getting. You probably already know
A
that
skill I
anyway.
lack in. No, I don't, because I'm telling you, I always feel bad, and even sometimes Alan's like, maybe don't post that picture. It doesn't look so good. Lighting is key. I mean, that makes a huge thing. So I would
Lighting is
always
key.
post pictures of my friend's restaurant every time we're there because I wanted people to see and like give them the nudge. And because it's like dimly lit and we always sit on their beautiful patio with like light candlelight, it doesn't look very appetizing. And I asked him, my friend
Right.
takes pictures that he posts. I'm like, why are your pictures so good? He's like, because I take them in natural light. I do it
Yeah.
like early in the day. I'm like, oh, well, there you go.
Yeah, that does make a big difference.
It's all
Sometimes when I
smoke
post
and
a picture
mirrors.
of my face, people are like, "Oh my god, your skin is porcelain." Blah blah blah. No, it's just that I stood in front of a window. It just blows everything out.
Right? Or a good old ring light can do wonders.
Yeah, yeah.
Right?
I know somebody that could use a ring light.
Yeah, I have
Her
one.
name
And now that I'm
rhymes
looking,
with Pesica Jung. That's what it rhymes with.
maybe it would take that gray tone away from my skin too.
I don't know. I can't see any features on your face because our internet connection is so poor.
Oh my god, it's so bad. Hopefully this audio comes through, y'all.
We'll see. We'll see what happens. Should we go ahead and get into our rants?
Let's do it.
You know, I guess
feel
we
like
should
I
tell
should
each other.
have-
We've been gone for a bit, so I feel like I should tell people what we do.
Sure. Well, we did tell in the last one. We had our comeback episode.
Did we?
Mm-hmm. That was
Couple
a
weeks
very
ago?
long one. Mm-hmm.
Oh, yes, yes. Well, okay, then I won't tell people. I'm not sure why you stopped me.
Oh, what we do. If you want to say what we do in the podcast, sure. I thought you meant what we've done.
No, what we do. We are the Rants and Raves podcast. We like to rant out things that are sometimes important, sometimes not. Get all
Mhm.
that frustration and angsties out, and then we fill up with goodness. That's all I meant.
That's right.
And then if you want to tell people how to get a hold of us,
Sure.
toss that in.
We definitely
we've never
want to
done this
hear from you.
before.
I know. You know what? There's something in the air. Mercury is in retrograde.
Mercury's
and
in
Mercury.
in retrograde. Mercury's in retrograde.
Y'all get those messages rolling in. We are back. Okay. You can
Mhm.
find us and message us at the Rants and Raves podcast. That is both on Instagram and Facebook. On Twitter at raves_the. You can send us an email directly at the Rants and Raves podcast at gmail.com, or go to the website, hit the contact button, www.therantsandravespodcast.com.
Woohoo!
A hiccup and half burp to end that. Pardon me.
Yeah, I'm not sure what kind of power I have to get rid of stuff like that. This is all new to me. So
I
we'll
know.
see. All right. Well, who's up first then? Let's see.
Oh, I am
I've got,
for
you are,
a
yes.
rant. Ooh, y'all, this is coming off the tails of me. So, you know, I've talked about this before. Camp Improv Utopia is a big part of my life. I'm a board member and I am a teacher there. And Dana was one of our teachers and sadly was supposed to be at
Yeah.
our Ireland camp, which I think we mentioned sadly was canceled due to COVID. It's kind of on indefinite hiatus for a number of reasons, again, due to the pandemic and it being out of the country. But
Yeah.
I went to 3 of our camps this year. I went to our Cambria camp, and then more recently, I was on the East Coast in the Poconos, and then in Yosemite this past weekend, which was incredible. So you've heard me talk about it before. I'm a big proponent of national parks. Yosemite
Mhm.
has had my heart for many, many years. Please, if you are ever in California, go to Yosemite. If you live in California, I'm begging you. So many people grew up here and have never been. go. Just go. If you live anywhere near a national park in this country, go on a trip alone, with a friend, with your family, whatever. Just do it. Now I
Don't
will
go
get to
alone because
my.
there's a high murder rate at national parks. I'm just saying people disappear all the time. Okay, go ahead.
Also, I get scared because one of my friends will hike alone at Joshua Tree, and I'm like, I'm not trying to be a creep, but God forbid you fall. There's no reception
Sure.
out here. No one's.
Injuries.
Please
Yeah.
don't.
But more people
So,
disappear from national parks than anybody realizes. Do a deep dive. It's terrifying. Okay. Continue.
that's why I stick with a group, a big group.
Yeah.
So I do arts and crafts at our camps. I teach
Yeah.
at
What do you call
Yosemite
it for short?
A's and C's.
I hate it.
Dana
I can't
hates
accept
it.
that of Brave. I can't
Dana
accept that
got
of Brave.
real upset with that. So
Because AC
I
is air conditioning. That's why.
I do the arts and crafts at our camps, and I take great pride in it. And I have some serious problems with heating crafting tools. What do I mean by heating or heated? I'm talking about hot glue guns and wood burners. So I've been
Mhm.
amassing those. Like, I save my Michaels coupons and my rewards so I can get like 50% off one item. I wait so I can
Right.
buy yet another wood burner, right? So we can
Mhm.
have multiple ones going. And spoiler alert, because some people don't listen and press too hard and break my tips off into the wood burner, and then it can't be used.
Yeah, you don't have to press that hard. It's burning the wood.
Okay.
Mhm.
So, what is my anger and rant about this? These are things that are scalding hot that can do
Mhm.
serious damage if
Mhm.
they touch your skin.
Yeah.
And they come with the jankiest, weakest stands. I'm putting my hands in quotes because it's a little thin, lighter than a feather piece of metal to hold a tool that's at least a pound.
Yeah.
And you
Well,
put that down and right in your lap, singe you a permanent brand right in your crotch.
you're not
It
wrong.
makes
They are bad.
right? It makes me furious. And as I'm saying this, I forgot to mention it to Alan because I legit want to see if he can, like, with his tools, take a lathe or a whatever kind of saw or thing and dig out a thing so that I can set the tool in there and not have it burn through that, but have a proper stand to hold it in because they are constantly flying off, almost hitting people, smashing the ground, which can also break them or break the tip off. It's nonstop. Also, the same with a glue gun. Why doesn't that come with a little cup that holds that shit that's oozing out, that's going to stain or get on your table or whatever else? And also, you ever accidentally touch something you just glued with a hot glue gun to press it down? It ain't Elmer's.
No.
It's hot. Why don't they come with like protective gloves, a rig to hook it in? Like nothing. These are
Yeah, no, you can
scalding
buy
hot crafting tools.
so upset. You're not wrong. You can buy them at the 99-cent store as if they're toys for children.
What at the 99-cent store? A wood
Hot
burner?
glue guns and stuff.
Oh yeah, those are those little teeny ones, which are also
Yeah.
light as a feather. They don't even have a metal stand.
No, sometimes they just have
Kickstand.
these little they have these little plastic nubbies as if it's supposed to balance on the plastic nubby like T-Rex arms.
It's an
the little
insult.
ones.
It's an insult. I know
Yeah.
exactly what you're talking about. I've bought them. It's an insult to the human race and to any crafter.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ooh boy. So if anyone
Oh
has
boy, you
any
just got upset.
ideas, I do. I am.
Well, and you know what? It's legitimately called a glue gun, and you're not going to have more safety precautions than just willy-nilly hand them out.
Seriously. If
I
anyone
mean,
listening
honestly.
has suggestions, if you craft or have ever used one of these, I applaud and welcome and want to hear what you have to say. as something to do with this, because also that wood burner takes a long time to heat up and a long time
Yeah.
to cool off. I'll just add in another aside. This isn't, well, it is kind of a safety issue, but do you know how long you have to wait for that thing to fully cool down to unscrew the nib to put in a different one? Like if you have the chisel tip and you want to do the fine dot points, you got to let that thing cool down for a freaking hour before you can unscrew it. Nobody's got time for that.
No, I
So
didn't
why
even have
didn't
time
it
for
come with
that
gloves?
story. Like, I got bored in the middle of the story. And I can't-
You know what?
No,
When that
here's my
resin
big
turns
question.
over on you one day and burns you, you're going to be running
some people know
to
nothing
me
about
for
resin.
answers.
There's no heat involved unless I want to get some air bubbles out, and then I use my heat gun, which then goes back to your problem. It doesn't have a good enough stand. So I get it in
Is your
some
heat-
ways.
Is your heat gun sort of like my embosser that I had when I used to make stationery?
Yes.
It's like a
Yeah, they're
glorified
big.
hair dryer.
Yes, but very hot.
Okay.
Burnt myself
Mhm,
with that
mhm.
a lot. You know, a wood burner is more of a tool. Like, you have to buy that at Harbor Freight. So there's that.
No,
I
Michaels
understand.
has them.
Well, sure, but like, you're not buying that when you do a craft run out to Five Below. That's more like,
No.
that's a bigger deal. But a hot glue gun, anybody can get them. They pass them out like candy.
I know. They even have them
They
in
need
the
to-
one
you're
spot
right.
at Target.
Yeah, you got to make them better. I'm sorry. You
Mhm.
need to make them better. They
Safer.
They ruin things.
Make them
Safer.
safer. Have a
I don't.
holster.
I've never.
Holder.
A
A
holster.
holster. Like I'm going to put it
I-
on me
like it's a
in the
gun,
Wild
like a real-
West.
Yes, I.
You know what? I would love a hot glue gun holster. I am 100%
I can't
against
imagine.
guns, but I would
me
embrace a
too.
holster for a hot glue gun as long as it was protective.
No, I can't imagine what that kind of power wielding would do to you. Just based on this conversation, I don't trust it.
Oh my God. Rant over. Rant over.
It's a legitimate rant, for real. It is aggravating.
Yes.
My rant this week is equally as like
Important.
Okay. Oh yes, that's what I meant.
Thank you, Dana.
Okay, and mine comes with the added benefit of me having a conversation with a young person. So
Mhm.
Jessica and I have talked a lot lately about how, like, we's getting oldies. We are turning. We don't have grandchildren, but we're legitimately in a physical way becoming grandmas. Am I off track?
No, you are not.
Okay,
Not
I
proud
may
of it.
look. I may look fresh as a daisy. I don't. You might think, oh, coins could bounce off her fluffy little cheeks, and then the cheeks would just poof right back out. No, I am falling apart. Okay, so Jessica and I have talked. We both have arthritis in our necks. Really been dealing a lot with that. I got a new
Mhm.
exercise tip I'll give to you offline, by the way. It's lovely.
Ooh.
So there's that. My knees are going bad, and I know that's going to happen because my dad's getting ready for his third knee replacement.
No.
Yeah,
They're
he's got
doing
some
it a
scar
third
tissue in there.
time?
That's, well, it's not going to be as horrible, but some scar tissue has created a strand, like a string that keeps getting caught on his new knee. And when
Oh,
it pulls
no.
off, it snaps like a rubber band and hurts him. So, yeah. So that's my future. So,
Ay, ay, ay.
anyway, like, along with that, too, my son's getting older. I mean, we got, he's going to have to start wearing deodorant. He's washing his face at night. Like, he's getting to be a man. I don't know how to deal with it.
He's prepubescent.
My husband is, oh my God, it murders my heart. I don't know how it's
Can't
happened so
believe
fast.
it. I know.
My husband, on the other hand, looks all of 28 years old, never ages, not a
It's
wrinkle
true.
or a gray hair on him. All I've
Yeah.
ever wanted is a wrinkle and a gray hair. I've always liked older men. What's happening? I've been cursed with this baby. I keep aging, and he's frozen in time like a big FU to my face, okay?
Oh my
So,
God.
anyway, I'm having this conversation, and it's one of these Instagram videos that's like life in the 80s, right? And I don't know if I sent it to you. I think it made me mad.
Mhm.
But it's this video footage in hallways in 1989 specifically. And it's just kids waving at the camera. And it's all the things that we grew up with, Jessica. The big hair, the Cocker Spaniel perm. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Mhm. Oh yeah,
The floof of bangs, then the
the
spiral
air
perm that just
bangs.
oozes. Yes, and then the spirals just ooze down your body, flat to your head.
Awful.
It's not attractive. It's awful. So I'm just gonna start off by I was having a discussion with our young friend Kate, who just got married, and I sent her that video, and I was like, I legit had that Cocker Spaniel hair. Like, it's awful, right? So I'm gonna read you the conversation that ensued because it made me realize something, and I hope everyone will take this into consideration. So she says, I can't believe you got to grow up in the 80s. Ugh. Okay. I responded, got to? Question mark, question mark. All caps, had to. Ugh is right. I was not cool. The colors were not ideal for a redhead. Those neon colors, not great. Not great on an albino redhead. The 80s were ugly. Blech. That was my response. She goes, no, I would have loved to grow up then. I could see that the colors for redhead weren't great, but I just love the 80s. It looked so fun. This is not what she sounds like, by the way. I don't know why I'm doing that. It's just a vocal representation of how annoyed I was with her thinking the 80s are cool. Okay. I said, and this is the truth. This is what broke my heart, Jessica, because it's so true.
Mhm.
That's because the only footage of the 80s was taken by rich kids who had the money for camcorders as toys. They were all pretty and happy and cool and had dermatologists. You never witnessed the reality of awkward, normal, poor kids. Trust that. That's what I typed, trust that, period. She goes, okay, fair. And most movies depicting the 80s are jazzing it up. I said, yep, rich and beautiful, even if the story is about normal high school kids. Do you know what a revelation that was? So you understand, Jessica, that today our children, and even ourselves, because it's a necessary evil for things like your
Mhm.
job, my job, whatever, social
Mhm.
media, we're all taking pictures of ourselves. We're all like, everything is documented. I'm like, I bought a new plant today. I must show it to you, right? Every little thing.
Yes.
Not back then. None of us poor kids were represented. It was only the kids who had everything, and they were
Until
beautiful.
Roseanne.
And they,
I'm
yeah,
saying
that
that
was a
show was
representation
probably
of
the
like,
first show that like showed middle, and when I say middle America, I just mean like middle of the
Sure.
road family, right?
right. Of course. And TV and movies were the only thing that was representative of what we put in our
Yes.
faces, our eye holes and brains. And, you know, like our memory domes. So like people are idealizing the 80s of like, look at these kids having fun. They got their ponytails and their fuzzy hair. Let me tell you something about that hair. Only the rich kids who went and got trained how to have that hair were able to have it without getting those crusty hairspray flakes, or one side being taller than the other, or dealing with a cowlick. Okay? Nobody was having fun in their too thick sweatshirts with yellow, blue, and orange geometric shapes. That was for rich kids. I thought I was lucky if I got to go to Kmart and get one item from the Jacqueline Smith collection, and that was the coolest shit I had in my closet.
Jacqueline
Okay?
How
And if
dare
you don't know who Jacqueline Smith is, that tells you where I was on the cool scale. She was in Charlie's Angels in the 70s and ended up with a bitch gorgeous. We ended up with a clothing line at Kmart.
I know.
That's the real 80s. Take your fun-loving glasses off and realize the 80s were not fun or beautiful. We survived.
When you sent me this, I was laughing so hard, and then I started like peeling back and thinking about it, and I'm like, oh, I know the two like biggest shows of the 80s for people of our age demographic to watch were both dealing with the extremely rich, and we're talking about Different
Yeah,
Strokes. Yeah, those two kids
yeah.
were adopted by a millionaire. Okay,
Right?
Mr.
Right?
Drummond, Mr. Drummond adopted Todd. What was his last name?
Mhm.
Todd Bridges
I can't
and Gary
remember.
Coleman.
Yes. And Gary
And then,
Coleman.
excuse me,
And
what
he
was
already had
following
Dana
that?
Plato.
We still don't
Mr.
know where
Belvedere?
she came from, right? Unless she was an aside with Mrs. Garrett. Remember,
Oh.
Mrs. Garrett was
Yeah, I'm
the
going to look like her when I get old.
housekeeper. I think Facts
Yeah,
of Life was a spinoff because of Mrs. Garrett
because
on
of Mrs.
Different
Garrett.
Strokes. But
It
then,
was. And Google her. That's what I'm going to look like when I'm old. I did an old age filter on the camera, kids. I'm going to be Mrs.
oh
Garrett.
my
I'm
God,
not mad about
she's
it.
also all of 4'11". She's one of the tiniest humans you've ever seen in your life.
That's how tall I'm going to be. My mom always said she was 5'2". She said, I'm 5'2". I say I'm 5'3". My mama ended up a full 4'4".
Oh my God.
But yes,
What?
rich.
And then Silver Spoons?
Rich
He
kid.
had a running train going through the house.
Through his house.
And all of his
Yeah.
friends were rich. Jason Bateman was rich.
Wait.
Alfonso Ribeiro was rich.
Wasn't Webster rich? He lived in a big house. There was a big staircase. And to me, if you
Ma'am,
had stairs, you were
George!
rich.
He sure was rich,
But that's what
especially
I'm
when they went to
saying.
look at that house where he went behind the grandfather clock and ended up in a
Yes!
room with a dead child's ghost.
That
On a
is
very
an episode
special
I don't
episode.
remember. It must have been a very special.
Ma'am, George Papadopoulos, former NFL player.
Anyway, I'm like, then I started thinking about what are people going to see now? And I'm like, well, either everything exists in the cloud, right? So, like, either there's going to be no history of us
Sure.
because it's all going to be eaten up by the internet somehow. Or people are going to think that we lived in these tiny, whatever the 4x1, 16 by
Yes.
9 ratio of a story is, that we all lived in these tiny rooms because that's all you
100%.
can see in any of our postings and in any of our memory stuff is like just that sliver of a view that's just our face and body.
It's insane. I will tell you
Yeah.
too, it is
But
interesting.
that's why people think that's why the
Go
80s
on.
are glamorized, I think, because there's not a true view of what normal life was like.
Even
Right?
if you turned on the TV in the middle of the day, what did you see? Robin Leach, Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous.
The rich and famous.
It was
Oh my
always
God, my mom
that.
watched that like it was church. Like it was
Okay.
church we watched that show.
Uh-huh. Because we
That
all...
and Entertainment Tonight.
Oh my God, yes. So I will tell you, years ago when I went to China for work, I was on this tiny little island that there's like a famous music school on, and a lot of European settlers settled on this island. And so
Uh-huh.
this young college student, I'll never forget her, Jojo, so adorable, took my boss and I around, and she kept saying, oh, I bet she was like shocked that I was amazed at how beautiful the properties were and all this. And then finally she said, she seemed confused, and she said, it must look like your house. And I'm like, my house? I'm like, I live in an apartment that the ceiling's crumbling down on. What are you talking about? And then I realized all she ever saw, and this is interesting also to give perspective on how people view Americans.
Mhm.
She lives in a communist country, and everything is controlled with what they see. So the rare glimpses that she got into seeing, quote, American life
America.
was like upshots of palm trees down Beverly Drive, like at the opening of 90210. And I said, oh,
Right.
no. She thought everyone in America lived like that. Everyone. She just thought we all were rich and all had big houses and blah, blah, blah. So it's very fascinating how things are perceived again through a lens as opposed
Yes.
to reality.
It's not an accurate representation.
No, not at all.
Ugh. Anyway, I couldn't decide if I wanted to rant about that or earlier when you mentioned in the green room, I think you said something about targeted advertising. And I keep getting this advertisement for Uribe butt cream. And the woman is very cute. She has beautiful blue eyes and she's very normal. I think she created it, whatever. But she keeps telling me how to spread my butt cheeks and go like this with it because then there's no crotch smell. And I'm tired of it. I bet it's a wonderful
I'm
product.
sorry?
And you know what? I might end up buying it. I don't know. I don't think I have a lot of swamp ass going on, but she makes me feel like I do.
Oh my God.
She's like, and this is the way you put it on, just a little dollop, and then I'm going to show you. No, I'm not really, because we all love those kind of setup jokes. And then she goes like this, and we're recording video, so hopefully you guys will get to see it. She puts her little fingertips just in the beginnings of your crack, but then as you slide up and down the roundness, I don't know whose round butt she's shellacking. But then you ease that cream into your butt crack, and supposedly it keeps you from having crotch smell. Now, I don't know where that stuff's sliding around to, but it frightens me. I got a lot of really sensitive equipment down there.
My eyes are popping out. And
maybe that should have been my rant. I don't know. They're equally upsetting.
This is bringing me back to the 80s. Very apropos.
Somebody's going to...
Remember when magazines had ads to send away for free products? They were real happy to send free samples of shit out at no charge. My mother caught me, because I was all into magazines, even at a young age. My mom caught me sending off for stuff that A, I think half the time I didn't know what it was, or B, didn't even need it in general. Like even before I was at an age where I had my period, I was sending off for free tampons and pads.
Amazing.
I sent off for FDS. Remember those commercials? FDS woman, so very confident.
And wasn't she an ice skater or something?
Yes! It was like a spray for your crotch.
For your kukaki. Yes.
And my mom sat me down for that talk as a OBGYN nurse of how you never put anything scented up there. You don't
up in there
or anything else because it will kill and destroy the natural bacteria that we have and need.
Yeah.
My mom was so upset by that, like freaking out that I was sending off for FDS. I just thought it was like a body spray. That's how they made it seem.
Oh, sure. They made it seem like the Axe ads these days for men. Like, just spray
gross.
Life will be attracted to you between your legs. Your life is going to be better when the between legs smells like a bouquet of flowers.
So disgusting and disturbing.
If you don't like the smell of a lady, as long as we're all like normally hygienic, then you might not like ladies. I'm just going to say it. You might not like ladies. Because every man that has had their face near my stuff seemed very happy.
Okay. All right. Different show.
Moving on. Ooh, I hope my dad's not listening. Okay. For that matter, I hope your dad's not listening. Okay.
Quite a time to take a cleansing breath. Ugh.
And let's close out this chapter on the 80s and my vagina. And close. Okay. Okay, well, those are our rants for what they're worth.
Oh, yeah.
We like to get that all out, and this is like a staple of our show that I sometimes forget. It's the cleansing breath. This is what's going to make you feel good for the day. You don't realize it right now, but you're listening to these crazy women talk. I don't look particularly wonderful, but I think I need to put this video on the internet somewhere. But what I am going to give to you today and what Jessica's going to give to you today is this one cleansing breath. You're going to feel better.
Yes.
Scream it out if you got the chance. If you're out in public and you don't feel comfortable doing that because you fear arrest, or if you can have any reason, you could say because Jesus, I don't want to scream. I don't care. You don't have to. Do it if you can and you want to. We're going to take a deep breath in.
Okay.
And I just realized my fingernails look horrible. These two blank ones were white, and they have Halloween stickers on them, but I did the dishes. And that's why housework is evil to women. You can't expect us to look pretty and clean. I'm sorry, you can't.
That's why, like, I do not get my nails done often, but I do it like the day before something remotely
An event.
special, meaning not the day to day same old. Because they're done. Like 2 hours later, they're chipped and they're done. Or you get in there
unless
and
you
start
do
cleaning
gel
or doing something, forget it. I'm not doing gel. It takes 3 hours to melt
It takes
them
a
off
long.
your fingers.
That's the part. Getting it off is the worst.
Yes.
Because I'll end up just letting it grow out till it looks like some. Oh, she chose to do some funky kind of new
Press-on
manicure.
nail.
Nah, that's grow out. That's grow out. That's not a half moon. That's not a half moon dip on my nail. That's grow out.
I told you, if someone ever comments on that and you might get complimented, just say, oh, thank you, because somebody thought I had a reverse French manicure and it was because my nails were about 2 months grown out.
Yeah, we all
So
do
just
what
say,
we gotta
oh,
do to
thank it's a
survive,
reverse
honestly.
French.
Yeah. The only thing I will say is don't bite them off, y'all, because did I send you that video the other day of all the creatures living under your fingernails?
No.
All them little bugs you chomping on when you chew your nails. Oof.
No.
Don't be chomping no little bugs. Don't
I'm
be chomping on
scared.
your fingernails. It's gross. Okay, let's move on to our corners. Hey, Jessica, are you ready for corners?
I sure am.
Okay, here we go.
Oh, wow!
Sound effects.
I love it.
Sound effects.
Well, that is perfect for this. This is coming to us from the Good News Hub. And you better hold on to your hat for this one. Okay. Woman who smells Parkinson's disease helps scientists develop diagnosis test.
I'm sorry, did you say dog?
I said woman. She might be part Cocker Spaniel. There's a callback for you. A woman can smell Parkinson's disease with incredible accuracy and is now helping scientists to develop a test to diagnose it. Joy Milne is a retired nurse from the Scottish town of Perth. She developed the ability to detect Parkinson's after sniffing the disease on her husband 12 years ago before he was officially diagnosed.
What?
He had this musty, rather unpleasant smell, especially around his shoulders and the back of his neck, and his skin had definitely changed, she said. Joy wasn't aware that the odor she was smelling was Parkinson's disease. She only linked the smell to the condition after her husband's diagnosis when the pair visited a Parkinson's UK support group. Joy detected the same scent amongst the people there who had the same distinctive smell. After hearing about Joy's extraordinary ability, scientists were inspired to develop a swab that could be used to diagnose the disease. The team from Manchester University developed the skin swab test, which analyzes sebum from the skin on a patient's back. Patients with Parkinson's were tested as well as a healthy control group. The test had an amazing 95% accuracy in test conditions. In the sebum samples, the scientists found 4,000 compounds, of which 500 were different between those with Parkinson's and those in the control group. There isn't currently a chemical test for Parkinson's, with thousands of people on the waiting list for a neurological consultation to be diagnosed. Professor Perdita Baran, who led the research, says that these tests could be used in GPs' surgeries in the future and diagnose people in as little as 3 minutes. At the moment, we have developed it in a research lab, and we are now working with colleagues in hospital analytical labs to transfer our test to them so that it can work within an NHS environment. We are hoping within 2 years to be able to start to test people in the Manchester area. Unreal.
That is incredible. I mean, I've heard of dogs being able to sniff out
Yes.
cancer and,
Yes.
when seizures are coming on, they can sense it coming. I've never heard of a person.
No.
But it makes sense to me. Don't you notice that you smell different when you don't feel well? I notice that about
Yeah.
myself.
Yes.
I've also noticed as I age, I smell different, which I'm assuming would be some sort of component of my hormones or whatever. Like my body odor
Yes.
smells different to me right now than it did when I was young. And it feels like
Mhm.
there's a stranger inside me. I don't like it.
Totally. No,
I'll
but
be like,
again,
who stinks? And then it's me. And I'm like, I didn't recognize her.
yep.
Do you know what I mean?
Of
It's weird.
course. It's also freaky because we've talked about this many times. Like, we all are guilty of going, it's probably nothing, or
Mhm.
it'll be okay, or this will pass, or it's just a crick in my neck, or whatever it is.
Totally.
If you think something's weird, look into it.
Got to.
Like,
Got to.
she can't be the first person that noticed a smell, but she's the first person clearly that acted on it and like tried to start putting two and two together, right?
Well, maybe she is the first person. Who knows? Like, I feel like
I
you
know.
have to have a special olfactory talent
Yeah.
for something like that, right? I don't know.
I don't know.
Although I said I
can
smell
smell
the difference
things
in
a
me.
mile away. Maybe they should hire me.
Is that a job you want?
No,
Go
I would throw
sniffing
up.
out disease?
Yeah, I vomit because of odor.
I vomit because of everything, but we know that. I
I
could literally vomit right now. I was thinking, do I need to get up and get a bagel? Anyway. Don't say ooh me. Don't ooh me. That statement should have been like, your response as a human and a friend should have been like, oh, Dana, but you go, ugh.
Because I have been with you when you have thrown up.
Yeah, it's not good. It's not good.
Hilarious.
Okay. I have that was an oh wow corner, by the
Mhm.
way, Jessica, that you had. That is really wow.
Yes.
I know some people with Parkinson's.
Right.
It's a devastating disease. I hope early
Yes.
detection can save some people from
And
the
slow the
deterioration
progression,
that
if nothing
happens.
else.
Yes.
Yes.
Correct. Yeah. My
Totally.
corner, I actually have a corner that you enjoy, Jessica. And the reason you enjoy it is to introduce it. Could you please introduce my corner?
Looks like we have a weirdo of the week. You're weird. You're so very weird. Why must you bring your weirdness here?
Yeah. I have a very, very fun one. It's from one of my faves, Oddity Central, written by
Mhm.
Spooky. Is
Mhm.
anyone surprised? Here we go. This is Oddity Central by Spooky. Raincoat man arrested after stealing 360 women's raincoats. Now, this might shock you or may not. I knew of this man, Jessica. I have heard of this
What?
man. I have read about this man. Yes, because it's been going on a long time. Let me read for you. A Japanese man obsessed with women's raincoats has been dubbed Raincoat Man after stealing a total of 360 raincoats over a period of 13 years. A 51-year-old man was recently arrested in Osaka, Japan, after being identified as the locally famous Raincoat Man, a mysterious thief who authorities had been trying to identify for over a decade. Yoshido Yoda, who worked as a newspaper delivery man, was apparently obsessed with a garment known as a kappa, a plastic or vinyl poncho worn over one's clothes to protect them from the rain. Upon searching his home, police found a staggering number of kappas, 360 in total, the oldest ones having been stolen in 2009. Sources from Osaka police revealed that Yoda's modus operandi had him following women who he saw riding bicycles or simply checking parked bicycles painted in feminine colors and looking for unattended kappas. If he found one, he would snatch it for his collection and then make himself scarce. I would say that the language in this article is a little biased. To say that he snatched it is a little biased, but he did take it. Yoshido Yoda started stealing women's raincoats in 2009, but investigators believe that at least 320 of the garments found in his possession were stolen in the last 9 years. He was so good at stealing coppers that he became known as the Raincoat Man among those trying to catch him. Asked what, here's where it gets creepy, okay? Because you're like, oh, that's kind of cute. Maybe 360 is a lot. Asked why he went for raincoats of all female garments he could have stolen, Yoda said that he got as excited seeing women in raincoats as he did seeing women in lingerie.
Excuse
Police Police estimate that he caused 1.12 million yen or $7,800 in damages over his 13-year-long criminal career. And listen, it's an odd behavior. Like, go buy your own raincoat. Don't be stealing my raincoat because you like to look at what you've deemed as lingerie. And I'm sorry, but I do believe it's a very short step. You're already stalking the women and taking an item that belongs to them is a very short leap to Dahmer. I mean, kidnapping, eating, all of it. It's a very short leap. It's a baby step. Okay. Right? Is that extreme? You're silent.
I'm just
It's a baby step to Dahmer.
What do I need to do to get paid to be considered sexy in a large, oversized piece of plastic covering my body as opposed to thin, lacy lingerie, which barely covers you? Because I will volunteer.
Don't even say that. No, don't even say it because we are a niche. There are men who like BBWs, big, beautiful women. So don't even say it unless you mean it, because we could have this podcast fully funded in a nanosecond, bitch.
That's really true. Oh, my God.
Don't tempt. Don't tease me, Jessica.
My God. Hilarious.
Anyway, I'm sorry, Yoda. You're a creep. I'm sorry. I'm not even sorry. I'm sorry that I'm speaking so rudely with my language. You're a creep.
Oh, my God.
Yoda. And that's my weirdo of the week.
Hilarious. Thank
buy
you.
Your own raincoat. Buy it yourself. They're not cheap. I don't think. I mean, even when you go to Universal and you're at one of those Whale Gallagher shows, it's not a Whale Gallagher show.
Oh my God.
People don't even know who Gallagher is anymore.
They don't.
Anyway, when you buy those ponchos for like, oh, I want to go to Water World, but I want to sit real close, but I don't want to get wet.
Yep.
Then pay $30
Splash
for
Zone.
a poncho. That's right. That's right.
Splash Zone.
Not sexy.
It's
not sexy.
All.
I don't look at those people up front at whale shows or Water World or whatever you want to do and go, look at those sexy motherfuckers up front. That doesn't happen in my brain.
I used to sit in the Splash Zone when I used to patronize SeaWorld. That's a story for another time, but I think you all can know how I feel about that. I stopped going once it occurred to my brain that water is filthy, and I'm getting it splashed in every orifice by sitting in that Splash Zone. I started sitting way up in the top.
You know, there's some meningitis in there. There's probably some brain-eating buggies in there. I mean, you know, it's all in there, I'm sure.
It's nasty.
Yeah. Are you yawning?
I did, and I tried to hide it and cover it. I'm like,
well, it's fine. I've bored you enough.
No,
are you ready to
didn't
move
have
into the
enough
best
coffee.
part of our show? I didn't either.
Yes.
I didn't have any coffee. I just drank this, not an ad, not a sponsor, just this monster drink. And I have another one in the fridge that I was like, should I break that open just to get through the day?
God.
It's fully
Yeah,
2:15
I had a very
p.m.
small, weak cup of coffee, and that does not cut it for me.
No, I need 5.2 gallons.
This is something that made me really happy.
Wait.
Yes.
But pause. Are we ready to go in? Are we fully into raves?
Yeah.
We've arrived. We're in the rave room.
Yes.
I like these sound effects.
I do too. So I don't know if you are familiar with Abbott Elementary. It is a very enjoyable show. I believe 2 seasons, I think now. It's a great
I think so, yeah.
great cast, great show. Again, like I'm very critical of sitcoms over the last decade or so. This is the first one, honestly, since Modern Family, where I'm like, oh, this is a good show, and I enjoy watching it when I can catch it.
Oh, I love that.
So
Did you
this
know that
young
someone you know
what?
was on Modern Family?
Really?
Yeah. Did you know that?
I didn't.
It was me. I was on Modern Family. I'm trying to hold on to any last vestiges of success. Please continue.
Oh my god, still like my favorite from the last 20 years without question. It really is.
I was a fan before I worked there.
Yes, I only auditioned for it 6 times and never made it on, but you know what? It's the thought that counts.
Is it? Okay, good. You'll have to take me to lunch and tell me that about Grey's Anatomy. Okay, keep going.
So this young lady just won an Emmy, actually, and one of the other two of the main characters won Emmys, and it was amazing. And if you missed the Emmys, I'm sorry.
Also
but
crazy for a relatively new show.
Yes,
it's kind of crazy.
But one of the women has been in the game for 40 years and just got an Emmy, so she's been playing her cards hard and finally got picked.
Yeah.
This is Quinta Brunson. She is the star of the show. She is also the creator of the show. She is also the showrunner of the show. Major. I don't know how you can show run and be the lead. My hat's off to you, young lady. She's all of 32 years old. So she directed Abbott Elementary marketing money to buy school supplies for teachers. This is her show.
Do you know how badly teachers need that?
Yep. She said, it's about being able to make those kinds of decisions that really excite me, things that can really materially help people. The Abbott Elementary star and creator said. She was able to make a difference in the lives of real teachers with her elementary school comedy. Brunson, 32, she's 32, y'all, who is creator and showrunner of the hit ABC sitcom, revealed during an interview with NPR's Fresh Air that she shifted some of the show's marketing money to donate supplies to teachers. We chose to put the marketing money towards supplies, explaining that the production team and network agreed to reallocate some of it. It's about being able to make those kinds of decisions that can really help people. She also opened up about the inspiration behind the series, in which she stars as a second grade teacher at an under-resourced, predominantly Black school in Philadelphia. She explained to Fresh Air that she has strong ties to the education system as the daughter of a teacher, and the school in Abbott Elementary is not unlike the school where her own mother taught years ago. Despite it getting harder, despite teachers not having all the support they need, despite kids growing even more unruly than they've been in recent time, she still loved the job, Brunson said of her mom. The beauty is someone being so resilient for a job that is so underpaid and so underappreciated because it makes them feel fulfilled. The comedian who starred in a Black Lady sketch show before creating Abbott Elementary also opened up about the special hidden meaning of the show's name. Brunson said she christened the sitcom after a teacher who helped her out when she switched schools in 6th grade. I was scared to go to the real world, or what I looked at as the real world at the time. And Mrs. Abbott just took me under her wing. She said of the educator, she was an incredible teacher who put her all into it, making sure that her students feel special and ready for the world.
Wow.
Brunson has formed her own special bond with the children she works with on Abbott Elementary. In an adorable video posted to Twitter, she filmed the actors who played her students on TV saying goodbye to her as the TV show went on hiatus. I mean, first of all, more of this, please. They still have the word out. Clearly, people know about this show somehow and are watching it. It's now won multiple Emmys. Hopefully, it's going to continue for a few more seasons. But What an homage to her mother as a teacher.
Mhm.
And can you imagine being that teacher and being touched by knowing that you touched someone's life so much that they named a show, like a critically acclaimed one at that, after you? Like,
Yeah.
what an honor. I love it so much. And I
I do
love
too.
you and I have talked about this, either
Mhm.
being told with people that you may have worked with over the years, how you've helped them or touched them. And the same with going back and discussing with teachers. I think I've spoken about this on an episode. I still have a really amazing relationship with my high school drama teacher who I adore. And he and I have maintained a relationship. We reconnected through social media years ago, and I love it. And I'm so
Mhm.
thankful for that. And I always tell him, I'm like, here's my yearly post to you, letting you know, but you made a difference in my life. You had a huge impact on me, and you're someone that I carry with me to this day.
Absolutely.
It's
I think that's beautiful. I mean, I think I've talked about it before too. I really only have one teacher that I'm like, that person cared about me. And that's why she
yes.
stuck out. So, but she was my
Hmm.
third grade teacher. And I think I had other
Um,
teachers that were kind to me. That's not what I'm saying. But like, I was just a student passing through the years. This lady
yes.
thought I was special. And this
Hmm.
lady saw that I was a writer and entered my
Hmm.
stuff into contests. And I won a big award that year. And that was the last time I
See?
really felt seen. I
Yes.
talk a lot about how I was one of the invisible students. I was low middle class. I was not the smartest. I was not the dumbest. I was completely invisible. No one
Hmm.
wanted to help me because I was going places, and no one wanted to help me because I wasn't, right? I was
Right.
just in that center,
Hmm.
just flying through life on my own, like, what?
Hmm.
Teachers
Seriously.
can make such a massive impact. Like
Yes.
my son's teachers, we've been so lucky. His teachers have been absolutely incredible. And the thing that breaks my heart is they kill themselves to do it. The time that they put in
Yep.
is unbelievable. The money out of
Hmm.
their own pocket. I told you, I make it a point twice a year. I ask my son's teacher, what can I bring to this classroom? Anything, supplies, Kleenex, board games, whatever you need
Hmm.
for this classroom, tell me. Because she's not making a bunch of money
No.
to be bringing
And
this
they spend
stuff
their own
in
money all the time.
all the time. All
Yep.
the time. Yeah. I love that. I
I
love
will.
that. First of all, I don't know how she even got in a room to pitch a show at 32. I wasn't pitching at studios till I was in my 40s. So good on you, girl.
Seriously.
And then I didn't sell. So, but I
I will
love that
throw in
she's
one more
taken.
thing.
Oh,
Go
sorry. Go
on.
ahead. I love that she's taken her passion and her talent and she's used it to give back to something that made a
Yes,
massive impact on her life. It's amazing.
exactly. I also feel like I have to mention this because this was last week. I babysat for a friend of mine. She went to see Pitbull in concert. Not, I
Hmm.
mean, she's a fan, but not just because of that. She was his teacher and a mentor when he was a high school student, and she had just finished college and was a young teacher starting out. Why am I telling you this? Because all these years later, 20 years later, he still credits her with being that person who saw something in him that pushed him. She said he was incredibly smart. She goes, I don't just mean smart, like brilliant. Like you meet those kids where you're like, this is a brilliant mind. And
Hmm.
he, would like cut class sometimes or maybe not do the assignments, and she would sit with him and beg him, be like, please, you've got to come to class, you're better than this, and was constantly trying to build him up. And she saw that he was into writing also. It's interesting that you say
Hmm.
that. So she really tried to push him to write. He then ended
Hmm.
up taking her to a rap battle, okay, to watch.
Oh,
We
wow.
cut to now 20 some odd years later. Not only did he speak and he names her on The View, he was a guest on The View, and my friend didn't even know, and people called her freaking out. They're like, Pitbull just talked about you on The View. And she's like, what? Also, he puts up a picture of her on his current tour. So she went, and it was at the Hollywood Bowl, and she was hysterically crying. Her sister took a video of it. He said, I have a very special person in the audience tonight, Miss Hope Martinez, and I need to thank her. And he credits her for believing in him. Also, he's a huge philanthropist in the Miami area, and one of his big things is education.
Love
and he
it.
as big as a star as he's been, and whether you like him as a performer or not, she said he is somebody who recognizes where he came from. He's very humble, and he's always trying to give it back. And he always thanks, and he still to this day thanks her. And I just
I
thought it
love
was so
that.
beautiful. It's like teachers make a difference. And here,
Mhm.
20 some odd years later, he's one of the biggest stars in the world. And he's thanking my dear, sweet friend
Yeah,
for what she did for him 20 years ago. It's amazing. So
I think that's
kudos
awesome.
again to the teachers. Dana and I are always going to sing your praises.
Always, always. If you're, as long as you're a
Yes.
good one. There's some stinkers out there, but we're trying to
Oh,
weed them
God,
out.
there sure is. Yep.
All right. My rave this week is really cool. It's about using kelp to fight climate change.
Mhm.
So this is from Spectrum News. Who wrote this article? Sarah Pia in Laguna Beach. This is fascinating. I love it. Giant kelp forests are critical to Southern California oceans. They are home to over 800 species. That's really cool.
Mm.
They help erosion by damping wave energy, and they absorb carbon dioxide, which is key in curbing climate change. But stressors like
Mhm.
pollution, overfishing, and warming waters all contribute to their demise. In 2002, marine biologist and Get Inspired founder Nancy Caruso began a journey to bring the kelp back with the help of hundreds of volunteers and thousands of students. Quote, over the
Hmm.
course of 10 years of hard work, diving 3 days a week, we were able to restore that ecosystem. Giant kelp thrives in cooler, nutrient dense water, but in the last several years, a series of ocean heat waves were deadly for them. First, it was a phenomenon called the blob, followed by El Nino. So Caruso, along with volunteer divers Wayne and Julianne, are heading out to survey the kelp's health. This was really the first cold water year again to watch the kelp grow and to see how it rebounds from all of the stress. Underwater, the team is counting the kelp, its maturity, and looking for invasive algae species like sargassum, another kelp stressor. I didn't know there were algae species that could stress out kelp. That's interesting.
Mhm.
But what they find is good news. Some mature kelp that's outlasted the warm spells, but lots of newer kelp. The young ones are this big, little babies. That's excellent. And it's still cool on the bottom, and they still have a chance to grow before the water gets warm this summer. Overall, seeing kelp in different stages of life is what Caruso considers a successful year, but they can suffer again from warming oceans and out of balance ecosystems. I hope we continue to see the normal water temperatures and the normal cycles of cold and warm water and nutrients on our coast so that this can continue, because when the kelp forests are thriving, then everything else thrives too. It's a promising
Mhm.
start, but the work will continue to keep the kelp alive for the future of underwater forests and the future of our oceans. I love that. So this article, there's a link in it to, in 2002, marine biologist and Get Inspired founder. So that's her organization, and it's getinspired.org. And you can go there and learn a lot about it. Right on the front page, it says inspiring stewardship and curiosity for the natural world through the exploration of science. So I think that she's obviously working in other ways too. It's a 501c3 nonprofit organization. Before ever seeing the ocean, Get Inspired's founder, Nancy Caruso, was inspired to become a marine biologist in the 4th grade. Oh, that's so cool.
Wow.
Science is all about asking questions. It takes a creative mind to ask the right questions. The future of scientific discoveries is only limited by our creativity. So they have the integration of the STEAM programming in their schools, which I believe that we've talked about that before. So they have all these programs for children to help them learn how to take care of our oceans, how to love them, how to keep them healthy. Getinspired.org. You can check out Nancy Caruso's organization. Yay!
Mhm. This is a total
Love
aside.
it.
I don't know if Spectrum is nationwide. It definitely kind of took over everything here. But I will say, if you are somewhere that has Spectrum, check out Channel One, which is Spectrum News. I'm kind of obsessed,
Hmm.
and that's where I learned about this lady. She was featured in a local thing. So they do nationwide news, but it's also very much geared around your local area. And I have been
Oh,
learning
nice.
so much about things that go on in Los Angeles or within Southern California, from restaurants to certain types of businesses that are Black owned, women owned, all of these different types of things that they highlight. And something like this lady who is based in Orange County, and her work that is something
Yeah.
that is going to affect the entire world. So seriously, check out Spectrum News if Spectrum is your cable provider, because I
Okay.
really enjoy their coverage, and they have a really nice I don't remember what it's called, but they have a show once a week where a reporter sits down with somebody, and it's a really in-depth, like half an hour interview. An actor, or it could be, it doesn't have to be a celebrity. It's really cool. Anyways, I'm not trying to push Spectrum. They're doing just fine. But Spectrum News really has some really nice stuff to offer.
I love it. Well, and on her website, she says just sort of like an overview of what
Mhm.
Get Inspired does. It says, from our classroom programs, opening up the doors for scientific discovery, to conducting abalone surveys that create citizen scientists, we aim to work with and in our communities to inspire stewards for our natural places. I love that.
Mhm.
That's teaching people how to take care of our planet. Love it.
Love it.
Jessica,
Dana,
I think that's our show.
I think it is.
Do you want to tell everybody how to get a hold of us real quick?
Yes, please send us your thoughts, feelings, and everything in between to the Rants and Raves podcast. That is at Instagram and Facebook. On Twitter, we are at raves_the. You can send us an email at the Rants and Raves podcast at gmail, or you can hit the contact button at our website, www.therantsandravespodcast.com.
Love it. Jessica, it's been fun talking to you today.
You too, my friend.
I'm going to end today with something appropriate for my rant today. Do you have
Mhm.
any shows or anything you need to talk about that you are absolutely have to share, people need to see?
Just really quick,
No?
Reboot. If you have Hulu, please check out Reboot. It's about the reboot of an 80s sitcom. It's starring Keegan-Michael Key, who I love. Paul Reiser, oh my God, love him. And this is a very different role for him. And you said you liked a man with gray hair. Then I suggest you look at an older version of Johnny Knoxville, because he's still
I've
hot
seen him
and he's
lately.
all
I've
white.
seen him lately. I know,
I
and I'm
haven't.
loving it.
I
Yeah.
love it.
I ran into
That's
him
it.
once on the stairs over
Ooh.
at Beechwood Canyon. Isn't that weird?
Oh.
Anyway, Hollywood.
Mm.
I wanted to end the show today with usually I like to share a point to ponder for the week. And so this
Mhm.
is dedicated to those young people that think the 80s was so great. Okay. Just going to tell you a few things that happened in the 80s. Richard Pryor set himself on fire. Horrible.
Yes.
Okay. 1980.
Yes.
Horrible. Bob
From
Marley dies of
freebasing.
skin cancer.
Mhm.
Yes, correct. It was tragic.
On his
Horrible.
toe.
Bob
On
Marley.
his toe.
Okay, Jessica. We already know it's
Well,
horrible.
you're talking
I
about
wasn't
two of
gonna
my
go in-
favorite people.
Okay, I wasn't going to go into depth on any of it. I'm just reiterating why the 80s weren't fun. Okay. Pope John Paul II survives an assassination attempt. That was in 1981.
Because he was in that
Prince
glass
Charles.
Pope mobile.
Okay. Jessica. Should I just pause after everyone and let you really drive home the horror? Okay. Prince Charles and Lady Diana Spencer are married. Tragic. Horrible. Probably caused her death.
Ooh. I think we know how that turned
now
out.
here's a good one. Sandra Day O'Connor gets appointed to Supreme Court. So that was
I
good.
remember that.
Yeah. it was memorable on many levels, but considering it had never happened before, it was the first time. She laid the groundwork for future justices like Ruth Bader Ginsburg and Sonia Sotomayor. So that was a good one. The CDC recognizes the AIDS virus. Thank you, 80s. There's Ronald Reagan.
Go on.
Okay. I'm just reading Ronald Reagan. I mean, there's more to it. Announces the Star Wars defense plan. But since I'm just pointing out bad things about the 80s, I feel like all I need to say from my Democratic childhood is Ronald Reagan. Ew. Okay. Sally Ride becomes the first American woman in space. 1983. Why it takes so long? Okay. Michael Jackson releases the Thriller music video. Still don't know that dance and still feel like less of a person because of it at every wedding I attend.
I was petrified of it, yet
Steve
I would
Jobs?
sneak down to watch it
Same.
at night.
Same. We were at that age. It was
Why? I was
terrifying when we were
petrified,
little.
but I would like watch between my fingers, like
Because we're drawn to horror. Everybody's naturally drawn to horror. Steve Jobs gets fired from Apple. Thank you, 80s.
Oh,
First ozone layer hole was discovered above the Antarctic. Great. Prozac goes on sale and becomes the most prescribed antidepressant. Oh, boy. CDs take over the music world very briefly. Glad I bought all those CDs. First
okay.
web page was created. Look where we are now. Oh, boy. I guess that's it. The 80s sucked.
Let's
all I
not
wanna
forget
say.
about all them yuppies.
Can't we just forget about the 80s? I know we're not supposed to like erase history, but for me, I wasn't having fun in the 80s. I was really trying to figure out who I was. I wasn't allowed to be who I was. I was overweight. The world hated me. I mean, honestly, it was not a good time for Dana Powell. And that's how we'll end the show. I enjoy you. Also, look, I am straight up wearing a highway cone orange velour scrunchie. Now, that's where we're at. It's coming back, and I am here to push it back from whence it came.
Thank you for these memories of the 80s, Dana.
I'm going to go take a nap and cry. Love you, Jessica.
Love ya. See you next time.
Yes, ma'am. Bye.
Bye.